Novel Prisoner of Zenda, written by Sir Anthony Hope Hawkins. Chapter 11. Hunting a Very Big Boar. Resentile went to Princess Flavia's house, where Flavia shared two letters that she received, one from Black Michael, inviting her to visit Castle of Zenda, as it was a custom to visit once in a year in the summer, while the other anonymous letter that she received was actually written by Antony de Mauban, which Resendile guessed it from her writing that someone that he had received before, which resulted in summer house encounter. Resendile asked Flavia that not to accept Black Michael's invitation and not to leave the castle. And from now onwards, the regiment will going to camp around your house. Then Resendile went to Marshal Stark's house without consulting Colonel Sepp. Later, he asked Marshal to guard Flavia's house and do not let her cousin Black Michael to approach her unless he, Marshal himself, were there along with his men. Marshal accepted his order, but Marshal shared his opinion about Michael that even though he, the Duke, do worse things, but in regard of love, he isn't. But Resendile didn't acknowledge Marshal's view and asked him that he, Resendile, on daily basis will send a courier to him. If a day comes when Marshal doesn't receive a letter on 3 consecutive days, then Marshal will declare himself as a governor of Stelsu instead of Black Michael and will declare a state of siege. Then Marshal will ask Michael to produce the king. If Michael doesn't produce the king, he, Marshal, will proclaim Princess Flavia as the next heir to the throne and announce King Alberg is dead. Marshal swore to his words, and Resendile assured him that it might be possible in few days you will going to receive or hear something suspicious about him, but you have to keep your promise. Later, Marshal acknowledged or complimented Resendile by being a wise and a brave man. Later, Resendile wrote an order. He was willing to write more than a signature, but as his hand got injured, he couldn't write well. Later, he, Marshal, endorsed his order while sharing his urge to go along with him on expedition. Later, Resendile returned to palace and shared his plan with Colonel Sepp. At first, he shared his reservations, but later he approved his plan. Next morning, Resendile all set for expedition. But before going, he decided to bid a farewell to Princess Flavia. Resendile shared that he wanted to hunt a very big boar, and later he told her the purpose of his expedition was to seek Michael. Later, Flavia asked him to write a letter on daily basis. He agreed and Resendile asked her that if he couldn't come, she will take his position and not weep for him. She agreed and asked him to come as soon as possible. And Resendile made a peculiar comment. 1,000 Michael should not keep me from you. Then Resendile departed. That's the summary of Unit 11.